Hello, this is SleeplessRonin here to talk about the end of 2020. I've seen a lot of videos recently giving lists of the worst whatever of 2020, and I thought about doing one of those. It would be easy to talk about the giant dumpster fire that this year has been. I mean, the last 2 months alone we've seen probably the most incompetent console releases ever, both by Sony and Microsoft. We've seen Cyberpunk 2077 just get dragged through being a horrendously buggy nightmare that plays like raw garbage on the previous generation machines. And that's just in the last 2 months. Before that, we saw the new Dune postponed until sometime in 2021. And this is the first year in more than a decade without a single Marvel movie. Not a single one. That's just sad. And of course, we're living through the worst pandemic since 1918 flu pandemic, and we've seen raw human selfishness make it all worse. But I don't want to talk about that. We're living that. That is our daily lives right now. I want to find the silver linings in this shitfest of a year. So that's what this video is about. This is about the good things from 2020, at least when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to play. With that said, I'm going to present my list. My favorite things from 2020. The first category we're going to look at is video games. I first thought that the best games I played in 2020 were games released in 2019. Death Stranding and Jedi Fallen Order. But there was one knockout game I did play from 2020. Ghost of Tsushima. A fantastic game that is drop-dead gorgeous, amazingly fun, and loosely based on history. Well, it is true that the Mongols invaded Tsushima in 1274, and it's also true that there were fox shrines on the island, but there are also things that were not real. Like there was no Sakai clan on Tsushima at the time. Still, for historical fiction games, it's a stellar achievement, and a hell of a lot of fun to play. Runner-up, the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Gorgeous, fun, nice new story developments. The reason it's not the best is simple. The combat in it kinda sucked. Either the battles are extremely easy or mind-numbingly hard and tedious. Combat was just not good. Still, it was an overall fantastic game, very well voiced, and the graphics were truly amazing. It was fantastic to look at. I just wish the combat system had been up to the same level as the rest of the game itself. Also, it was extremely linear, but what are you expecting when you're more or less stuck in Midgar for the entire game? Now, there are a couple of games that probably should be on this list, but I didn't get around to them yet. First, well, the main one is The Last of Us Part 2. I have it. I'll get around to playing it. I really will. I just can't rank it because I haven't played it. I've heard it was excellent, and honestly, if it carries on faithfully in the steps of The Last of Us Part 1, then I can always see it being good. So I'm looking forward to that, playing that. I'm also looking forward to Watch Dogs Legion, and in the back of my mind, I'm still hoping that Cyberpunk 2077 is salvaged, and that someday I'll get to play it on a PS5. But for now, those are the video games for 2020 that I enjoyed. Next category. Movies. This is a rough category. I'm only going to count feature films, and so that limits it a bit. And I've got to say up front that I have hands down refused to pay for Disney Plus Premium, so I didn't see Mulan, and I'm not going to get HBO Max just to watch Wonder Woman 1984. So I have no idea if those movies are good or not. So because of that, this list is going to be a little bit shorter. The movie that I had the most fun watching this year was Sonic the Hedgehog. While it was far from a great film, it was a hell of a lot of fun. It was nice to see Jim Carrey back in his element, being goofy. The animated Sonic turned out pretty darn good. And I have to say, the movie had a solid plot. Not brilliant, just solid. And it had a good messaging about friendship and loneliness mixed in there as well. The movie that came a real close second was Onward. Disney Pixar's newest animated masterpiece. Gorgeously animated, with wonderful characters and an excellent story that was a combination of the classic journey tale with figuring out what a father figure means. It's one of those movies that has a really good heart to it. Of course, it also takes place in a Dungeons and Dragons-esque world, which just makes it a lot of fun. So, for someone like me, that was a heck of a lot of bonus on top of there. It was also, sadly, the last movie I saw in theaters this year, because then the world shut down. An honorable mention for movies is the Disney Plus release of Hamilton. While this was a movie release this year, I really can't put it any higher because technically it was just a recording of a live performance made in 2015. Now yes, this is an absolutely fantastic watch. And dear viewer, if you have not seen it and you have Disney Plus, or you don't have Disney Plus, do yourself a favor and go watch this, even if it means getting Disney Plus. Trust me, there's plenty on Disney Plus that you are going to want to watch anyways. I'll get to that more in a little bit. In fact, I'll get to that right now as we move into the next category of live-action TV. This was an easy category. Hands down, the best thing that happened to live-action television, which I'm including streaming services, obviously, was The Mandalorian Season 2. That ending, that was fantastic. Oh, I mean, beyond this, the ending episode, which of course has the appearance of you-know-who, I'm hoping you know who, there was also the episode where they name-dropped everyone's favorite blue-skinned Grand Admiral, and of course, we got live-action Ahsoka in the same episode. Beyond that, we brought back Bill Burr, and we also got to see Katie Sackhoff take on the role of Bo-Katan, a character she voiced in the animated Clone Wars series and the animated Rebels series as well. That is so freaking awesome. That was truly fantastic to watch. And almost every single episode was just brilliant. This was the Star Wars I've been waiting for. Runner-up this year was Star Trek Picard, another fantastic show. The story was very compelling, and I liked the darker take on Star Trek, although I will admit it was a little bit weird hearing Picard curse. And it was also odd to hear John Luke referred to as JL by some of the characters. That was just a little bit odd. It's still a very fun show, and it was nice to see characters from other series, like Voyager, be involved. I also really like the new characters that they made for the series as well. I thought they were well done. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes in Season 2, because honestly, that ending was kind of a shocker to me. So I'm interested to see where they're going to go. I really wish I could have included The Witcher on this list. But I can't, because technically it was released 11 days before 2020 began. Yeah, that's just how sad it is. It came out December 20th of 2019, so it can't be included in this list, which is awful because I loved that show. Hopefully, we'll get Season 2 sometime in the middle of 2021, as they've had production issues thanks to the pandemic. I would also have loved to include The Expanse Season 5, because I expect that it is awesome. But alas, I have yet to finish my rewatch of Seasons 1 through 4 at the time of this recording, and so I haven't seen Season 5. I'm also missing from this list The Boys Season 2, which I imagine was also epic. I've held off watching it because it had been a thing I'd gathered with friends to watch, and I'm still kind of hoping to do that someday. So, I've delayed it for a little bit. Now let's pause for a moment. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please do. And if you are enjoying the video, please give it a like. And now back to it. Our next category is board games. Well, sadly this year had a lot of game delays, again because of the worldwide health crisis. Still, some good board games came out. My personal favorite, based upon the IP which may still be my favorite video game of all time, was Horizon Zero Dawn, the board game. I've only been able to play it in co-op mode by myself, and yet I've still found it to be very fun. It is not the most challenging or difficult game when playing solo co-op, but it still has its fun. And sadly, that is really it. I've bought more games this year, and received a few Kickstarters as well, like the Battletech Kickstarter, but I've either not played them because they didn't have a solo mode, or they are from before 2020. I mean, Pandemic Legacy Zero looks fantastic. It came out this year, but I will not play that by myself. I'm not going to pop that thing where anything's revealed until I have a group of friends around a gaming table and we dig into that thing, because it looks fantastic. Next category, animated TV. And this may well be the longest category here. I love animated shows, and there have been a number of fantastic ones recently. But the best, by far, the top of all animated shows from 2020 is easy. It's DreamWorks' She-Ra and the Princesses of Power Season 5. This season was a near-perfect way to end a show. It takes everything the prior seasons have been building and completes it. The show is amazing, powerful, character-driven story with vibrant and unique characters. On both sides, both the heroes and the villains, you're going to fall in love with all of them. And you can't help but be drawn into them, into their stories. Having a run of 5 seasons, really 4, but 2 split in half, resulting in 2 and 3 being short seasons, that took barely a year and a half to broadcast, She-Ra accomplished so much in that time. I'm planning a far more in-depth review of the whole series sometime in the future, so I'll stop gushing here and just say, subscribe so you'll know when that review hits. And watch the show. It's fantastic. An amazingly close runner-up was Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7. The biggest issue that held this back were the middle episodes, which seemed kind of slow compared to the rest. The early episodes of The Bad Batch were so good that we're getting a spin-off series, The Bad Batch, coming in 2021, and that is certainly something to look forward to next year. And the final episodes were truly fantastic. The final scene of the whole series, it can still give me chills. Just imagining that scene, that is so well done. That was an ending. That was a brilliant ending. Next up, because this is the biggest list, is Rick and Morty Season 4, the second half. The first half came at the end of 2019, and we still had to wait 4 full months and a few weeks to get the new episodes. But they were well worth the wait. I was least impressed with the Never Ricking Morty, the story that was the Story Train episode, the very first one of the second half, because the end was, and yes, I know this was 100% intentional, a cop-out. But there were 2 episodes that were just above and beyond for the season. The Vat of Acid episode contains a sequence that is almost as painful and crushing as the sequence with Seymour, Fry's dog from Futurama, episode Jurassic Bark. You know the episode I'm talking about if you've watched Futurama. So you know what I'm saying. I mean, you expect shit to happen to Morty. It's just his lot in life. But this was like just gut-punching. It was brutal in some ways. It was cruel. The episode Star Mort Return of the Jerry, I love that play of words, was also a standout episode, hailing back to the Season 3 episode, The ABCs of Beth, in which Rick offered to create a clone for Beth. Well, this whole episode was crammed with callbacks, and it was a very well constructed episode that was, like many of the other really great episodes, a learning experience for Rick. At the end of this episode, Rick really is self-introspective, and that's really an important thing I think for this show, is that a lot of this is actually the Rick coming to understand himself in some ways. And the last show I want to mention on this list is a strange show. It's the strangest show on the list. Tigtone. I have a hard time explaining what the hell Tigtone is. Is it a madman's fancy of a broken Dungeons and Dragons world? Is it actually commentary on disruptive players in a D&D game? Or is it simply a well-wrought jest at Dungeons and Dragons? Or is it simply just a jest at all fantasy tropes, be they good or bad? Well, no matter what it is, it never fails to make me laugh. It is hilarious and stupid. The whole thing is ridiculous to an extreme level, and it's so short, it's definitely worth watching. I would have loved to have included Wizards, Tales of Arcadia on this list, but alas, it's the only season of the Tales of Arcadia I've yet to finish. I know I've had a few months to watch it. I've just not made the time. And the rest of the Tales of Arcadia has been absolutely fantastic, so I have high hopes for Wizards, and I really should just sit my butt down and watch it. Let's move on to the final category. Technology. My personal favorite bit of kit I nabbed this year is the GoPro Hero 9 Black. I love this little action camera. It's become so useful in such a short period of time, and has gotten me back into hiking. Yeah, I'm out of shape, but perhaps with the lure of technology I can get back into shape some. I'm a sucker for technology, so it's easy to manipulate me by giving me new technology. The runner-up technologically has been Syncplay. It's a simple bit of software allowing you and a friend, or more, to watch the same movie or show or file together even if you are apart. This has been a lot of great fun recently, as a friend and I have been devouring the entire RiftTrax library. The honorable mention in this category goes to the DJI Mini 2 drone. I'm impressed with the quality of its build and cannot wait to try mine out. Sadly, I've yet to actually launch it, which is why it sits here as an honorable mention. Hopefully I can launch it soon, and in the not too distant future, some drone footage will appear on this channel. And with that, I'm going to end my review of some of the good things in 2020, at least so far as I'm concerned. I've probably missed a few. I know I've missed a few. But I also know I've hit the high points, entertainment-wise, for me. And that's about the best we can say for this year, is at least we were able to find some entertainment in the middle of this dumpster fire. And this is SleeplessRonin saying, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next year. We have a lot to look forward to in the coming year. The Wheel of Time TV series, the Bad Batch TV series, Horizon Forbidden West video game, and so much more. We can only hope that 2021 treats us all a heck of a lot better than 2020 has. So let me say, sayonara, and I hope to see you in the new year.